the reports that it's already.
Chairman, I have.
Good evening and welcome everybody to the June 16, 2025 County Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. First thing we need to do is take our oath of office. So if all board members would join me and state your name. I, Chris Hollingsworth, will solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will faithfully execute and discharge the duties of Pipestone County Board of Appeal and Equalization according to law and to the best of my ability and understanding. Thank you. At this time, I'll turn the meeting over to either Steve or Amanda or Chris or who's ever ready to. All right, Chris.
I gave all you guys copies of our sales studies for this year. We'll start to. As you know, the state has criteria for our values on anything that said the value needs to be between 9 and 11. Meet those. Or they'll come in and do our assessment for us, which we certainly don't want. We also have to look at qualified versus unqualified sales. All the sales in these sales studies are qualified sales. But unqualified sale would be, relative to relative. A house that sells and it's $25,000 or under is unqualified. I think there's like 20 some different reasons we might see it unqualified. We also, with our sales, the state gives us time trends. This year we had time trends on Pipestone, Edgerton, the small city, and rural residential. And that's just the state. They look back 21 months and they're looking for trends in sales, and they bring all the sales up to the same date. Adjustment, they got their math. I couldn't even begin to explain it, but so we work with those as well when we do our sales studies. And then there's different adjustments our office makes to value to get these values to between that 90 and 105%. We'll look at map area. City of Pipestone has 10 or 12 different map areas. Like Brown's Addition has its own map area because it sells a certain way. And that can affect, we can raise or lower those map factors, and that can affect the values. Condos have their own map area, twin homes have their own map area, and we can adjust those to raise those values up or down to meet that criteria. We also look at manual level. Our manual level in our system is the building cost, basically what it costs to build a structure. And right now we're pretty much at 100% for manual level. Next year we'll definitely be raising that. Prices have gone up incredibly, so we have to increase our costs. We used to have a thing called size obsolescence. If a house was under so many square feet living area, we put 10-20% obsolescence on it. We decrease that value. We've seen in the last couple of years that size doesn't matter when it comes to homes. People are paying good small houses. So over the last 3 years, we've gotten rid of that. We no longer use that as an adjustment. And also the overbuilds for the bigger houses. There was a time where that was in effect. We've gotten rid of that too. That's no longer a thing. And then land, we can also adjust land. It's recommended that land should be between 10 and 20% of the value of a property. And so we work closely with our values to make sure that our land values keep up and they stay in that range. So from time to time, we'll raise our land values. We'll start by looking at the sales. For Pipestone, City of Pipestone, this year we had 50 sales. Last year we had 56. Countywide, last couple of years, we had an average 141 sales. This year we had 121 qualified sales. So share. But Pipestone, 50 sales. We did have a time adjustment of 6.029% on that. We did change some map areas. We removed some size obsolescence. The land changes, and we ended up at a ratio of 92.53. And then Edgerton, they had the same time adjustment of 6.029. We had 19 sales this year. We did some map area changes. And that's really all we did in Edgerton. We ended up with a final ratio of 92.56. Jasper's in a different category. Jasper, along with all the small cities of the rural res, they get their own time adjustment, and their time adjustment was 17.43%. Jasper had 8 sales. We did adjust the land in Jasper. We raised it. And that was to just keep those land ratios where they need to be. We increased the map area and we got rid of some size obsolescence. And we ended up with a final ratio of 94.64.
With the Jasper sales, with the village being split in half with Rock County, do you do some comparisons or just?
We do. And this year, we typically don't have C sales on the Rock County side, but we did have one this year.
Yeah.
So Eric Skogquist, the local assessor, he also does the Rock County side. And so the Rock County assessor and I worked with Eric to make sure all those sales were.
And there aren't as many parcels
No.
on the south side of the
That's right.
border either. And some
Yeah.
of them are older as well too. that
Yeah.
are there.
Yeah, so they did have one sale this year, which is unusual, but yeah, that was taken into consideration and, yep. And then the small cities, this year we had 7. They had the 17.43% ratio, timed it again, I'm sorry. We also and in the small cities, and again, that's just to keep that land ratio where it needs to be. We had to increase. We got rid of any size obsolescence that was on the small cities. We changed, each of the small cities has one area, like Woodstock. They had 2 sales, but the ratios were very low, so we really had to increase them substantially, and so was Island. But those were adjustments we made to the small cities. We ended up with a final ratio of 93.32. Rural residential art. We had 7 sales this year. On this of 17.43%. We did some map area adjustments. Obsolescence. We didn't do any changes to the site values. We ended up with a final ratio of 92.03 on rural.
How do you handle new construction on homes? Do you go by the square footage or you go by the actual cost, or how does
The actual cost.
actual cost?
Yep, we start with, if somebody puts on an addition, we'll start with, what's their current value? We plug the addition into the system and the difference, between the new value and
Yeah.
that gives us our new construction.
And are those figured then from the building permit? Is that where you come up with the cost?
No, we don't go by that. Our Vanguard, our software system, that has all of our cost schedule in there, and it gives us the cost of what, if somebody puts on a deck or an addition, a garage, it'll give us that cost. We go by that.
You're not looking at receipts or anything. You're going off of a software program.
Commercial sales, this year we had 11 sales, which is fairly high. We just made a couple, commercial doesn't get the time trend like the other jurisdictions do, so we didn't have that to worry about. We made some land changes in Jasper and Pipestone, and Eric Skogquist, again, he does the commercial for the county of Pipestone. He handles all of that, so we made just a few changes to the land, no changes to the building schedule on that. We ended up with a final ratio of 96.5. And at all of these that I've gone through, for instance, Pipestone City, to date, right now, we have 35 new sales. And right now we're sitting at a 93% median, which is perfect, which is right where we want to be. And that's telling me that the changes we made are working because they're getting us our values where they need to be. Edgerton, we've got 7 new sales to date, and we have a 90% ratio. Jasper, we have 7 new sales. We're at 94%. Small cities, we have 10 new sales, we're at 89%. Rural residential, we have 5 new sales, we're at 113%, which means we might have to lower values. We got a couple more months in the study, but we might have to do some adjustments to those values. And now we'll get to ag. This year for ag, we only had 19 sales. Last year we had 40, so we saw quite a decrease in sales. There was no time trend on ag this year, which was nice. We did make some map area changes to various townships. And our final ratio, we ended up at 92%. We do have 13 new sales for ag, and right now we're at 90%. Any questions on the sales? I guess we're talking about ag. I think I included in your packets the ag tier homestead. The state had made a huge jump from 2.15 million to 3.5 million for that ag tier first, the ag homestead first tier. And now for taxes payable next year, it'll go up to 3.8 million. All I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Anybody have any questions for Chris? Yeah. Well, Kyle, I think you're the only public here right now. Any questions at all? No? Okay. All right, perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you, Chris, for your presentation.
Yeah.
All right, with that, I believe that's all we have on our for business this evening. Anything else, Steve? Or okay, is there any other business come before this board? Thank you, Luke. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Motion second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Did you have anybody contact this year at all?
At the local level, we had some.